Shortly after daybreak, we arrived at the Pemon village of Unek, perched at the border of jungle and savannah, and one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It's a timeless setting, but only a few hours from the nearest town by boat or by foot, so the Pemon people live a life that is heavily influenced by the modern world. There's no running water. The washing and drinking water all comes from the river. But they are so close to the modern world, they have a village video camera. So we gave some tapes to Ricardo, the teacher in the village, to make a video for us of their routine.
We have a duty to maintain the indigenous traditions which have been disappearing for some years. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Bueno, está diciendo
This is a typical drink of the Pemon people of the Grand Savannah. It's called kachiri.
la bebida típica kachiri se llama. Yo nací en la sabana y a amarla yo aprendí. No hay tierra más.
Throughout the village there were clear signs of how their bushcraft is being lost bit by bit. The process starts with the availability of a useful tool. Then before long you rely on it and need to produce more food to pay for everything from buckets to clothes. Along the way the traditional skills get left with the elders until one day they're left behind completely.
Siempre que ha existido desde.
This is farinha, a flour that adds flavor to the meal.
Y el picante.
Qatar is nice and spicy food.
Comida.
There are villages like this all over the world, so close to modern amenities the traditions are being replaced one by one. Unek is a beautiful place, and the people who live here work so well together that maybe they can keep what is best from their own past and absorb only the good from the outside world. As we filmed with them, there was a great spirit in the village, and I really hope they manage to keep what's special about their way of life, because this is an incredible place, and for me it's the many and varied cultures and ways of life all over our world that make it such a fabulous world. A very good sign is that they continue to build using traditional methods for their housing. Their homes perfectly illustrate the place the Pemon occupy at the boundary of jungle and savannah. The roof and structure are made from wood and palm leaves cut from the jungle. The walls are finished with earth from the savannah. It's one of the places the Pemon bushcraft endures. The palm leaves mustn't be cut during a full moon, as the moon's gravitational influence means the leaves are holding more water, and this will make them rot sooner. Cutting them needs skill with the single most valuable bushcraft tool, the machete. It's an essential part of bushcraft, so here are a few simple tips on how to use one. With the machete, it's in its sheath until you need it. After all, it's indiscriminate. It'll bite you as much as it'll bite wood. Before you use it, I want to take this tree down here. I've got a use for that. Before I do, I need to make sure I've got clear, swipes with the machete. So any vegetation that's in the way, we just clear out of the way like that, making sure we stay well behind the knife. One of the things that's unique about using machetes or parangs is the speed with which the cuts are made. So this is what I'm after. It only takes a few cuts to go through. It's perfect to show some of the ways of cutting with a machete. Now I clean it up. It's got a vine round it here as it comes down. At a full arm's reach, just trim everything off. And once I get down to where the branch is no longer thick enough for my intended purpose, then I'll truncate it. And I'll do that with just one slash at about 30 degrees. You can see that in this environment a sharp harang and the right technique means you can collect whatever you need very quickly. It's also worth bearing in mind that it's very hard to work in this environment. It's very humid, you sweat profusely, it's very tiring. So good technique and a sharp harang makes life easier. Every cut we make with this tool has to be planned. We have to know what we're doing. And we need, wherever possible, to cut with the grain to our advantage. So we don't cut at 90 degrees to the grain, but at an angle to it. A good example of that is how we make a point on a stick. Let's imagine I want to make a steak here with a point on the end. I could cut it through and then sharpen it like a pencil, but I don't need to with this tool. What I do is I'm going to cut about that angle there. I'm obviously completely behind the tool, and there's a good bit of wrist action in this cut. Like so. 1, and I turn the stick, 2, 3, and we're almost through, 4. There we go. So we cut it through and end up with a point all in one go. I can further trim that and tidy it in the same manner with a confident action. But you see I've moved my hand further up the parang to give a little bit more fine control. Like so. If I want to flatten the top, then I'd normally lie down onto a branch or a root like this, and good firm blows. You see it's a very sharp tool. It has to be used with great accuracy. A machete is as versatile as the person using it. With practice, no job is too strenuous. A good machete is a real bushcraft friend. The villagers of UNEC work as a unit. They farm and are even trying to coax the barren savanna earth to bear fruit. One of their staples has always been cotton. So it was great to meet one of the village elders who told us how she learnt the traditional way to spin it.
My mother taught me when I was 9 years old, but it's taken all this time to become an expert. There aren't that many girls now that know how to spin, because times have changed. Years ago, we